better care for. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
It's time for Outside the Box with Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo and Lincoln Stars broadcaster Joel Norman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, for the first time in 2024, it's Outside the Box here on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm Joel Norman, joined by the head coach of your Lincoln Stars, Rocky Russo, after an excellent weekend for the Stars. But we'll get into that in just a moment. First things first, Rocky, how was I guess we can call them winter breaks. We get about that week off. You get right back into action. How was your time off with family and friends?
It was great for the most part. I got to, just spend some time with my daughters and with my wife, and my mother and father-in-law came into town, and so that was great. Unfortunately, my kids had whatever was going around the school that every other kid had, a little bit under the weather, but that didn't stop them from having fun. And then we had an official white Christmas here in Lincoln. It started snowing overnight and snowed all day long on Christmas Day. That was my wife's first real white Christmas. And she said there had been snow on the ground a few times growing up as a kid in Philly, but it never actually snowed on Christmas. So my father-in-law kept asking. He said, "That's why we're coming to Lincoln. We're going to have a white Christmas." And we were watching the weather as the holiday was coming up, and I'm like, I don't think it's happening. And then all of a sudden, the last few days, those snowflakes started to pop up on the weather app, and then it kind of looked like it was actually going to happen, and it was cool. We had, I don't know, 4.5 inches, and kids got to go out and play in the snow, and it was just a really cool experience for everybody. That was definitely more than dusting. It was definitely a fair amount, and surely made for a good white Christmas and a great weekend for the Lincoln Stars right out of the holiday break. I joked with head coach or assistant coach Mike Zanella all weekend. I said, what birthday gift you got to be asking for is 6 points, right? Well, he got exactly that. 2 wins over Omaha, the win over Tri-City. That was the perfect way to come back. Maybe sometimes over the games, not the way you wanted things to go, but you guys found a way to win 3 1-goal games. Bro, I haven't even had a chance to dig into it yet. Have you had a 3-game sweep weekend in your 3 years with the Stars prior to this? That's a good question. That's my goal tomorrow, is to figure that out. But I wonder if you could recall one. You'll have to check. I don't recall one, if you want to know the truth. That probably was the first one since I've been here. I'm just trying to think back to, we didn't last year, right? Last year. And I don't recall. I don't recall one in my first year. So I would venture to say that's probably the first time since I've been here. And I would also venture to say it's probably the first time in quite some time with the Stars where we've swept a 3-game weekend, which was pretty cool. It was a really fun weekend overall. It started off with a big win on Friday at home, 5-4 over the Lancers, followed up by a 4-3 win at Omaha the next day. And the weekend concluded with a little excitement of a shootout on New Year's Eve, 2-1 victory at Tri-City. Let's start with Friday's game, Rocky. One that started out fantastic. 5 goals to open things up. Midway through the second, rocking and rolling at the Icebox. Great crowd on hand. Everything you could want in that one. And then Omaha strikes in the final second, literally of the second period, and then gets 3 more in the third. But you guys hung on. That was one where, in a lot of ways, we haven't seen that a ton, where you kind of have done enough in a first period to win a game really this season. You know what? I was really, really pleased with the way that we started that game. And obviously, you know, we'd been in very low scoring affairs with them in the 2 games in their building before that. So to be able to score 4 in the first and then tack on a fifth, you're feeling pretty good. And even in the second period, I thought we played really well. We were kind of controlling the pace of play, controlling puck possession, and they scored with 0.2 seconds left on the clock at the end of the second period, and I think that I knew maybe more than anybody how much that changed the trajectory going into the third period. But I tried to just talk to the guys about learning from that and playing to the buzzer and really understanding situational hockey. And we made a mistake on the line rush, and then we didn't pick guys up, and all of a sudden it ends up in the net. And it's no harm, no foul, because you started the period with a 4-goal lead, you end the period with a 4-goal lead, but it becomes a problem when they score 3 goals and all of a sudden you're in a dogfight. So that game got a little bit more tight than we probably needed it, similar to that Washington Texas game last night, where Washington was firmly in control until all of a sudden they weren't. So but we were able to hold on and get a win. And I wasn't happy with our process. I didn't hide that from anybody. I think it's really important to learn from that, but it's easier to learn when you manage to hold on to that lead than if you give it away. Then you're really kicking yourself because you didn't do enough to hold on and win. But we did, and so I was able to kind of let the guys know that that's not acceptable and we have to be better, and I thought we were on Saturday.
Certainly energized the team heading into Saturday's game, and a game where you felt the adversity of that one. 3 different deficits. You came back each time, and the only lead you had in that game really mattered was once you got that second goal from Blake Montgomery. What a gutsy finish to that game it was, those final few minutes of the third period to tie the game and then win it as well.
What a shot by Dash, and then another great individual effort by Blake. But they scored a few goals that game, but I never felt like they had control of the game. I never felt like they were really running around on us or extending their possessions. They just kind of, we made a couple mistakes and they were able to score on them, but I felt like we had control of the game. It just, you look up at the scoreboard and you're like, if I was watching this game and I didn't know the score, I would think that we were handily in control of the scoreboard as well. But I think that we earned that win, and fortunately we were able to bury 2 in the last 5 minutes and then hold on with the net empty.
Needed overtime and then a shootout on Sunday, and that was kind of a game where you could tell both teams were playing for the third time in the week. You're trying to empty the tank, but maybe the energy just isn't quite there. But that was one where I think you could have flipped a coin down the stretch, and in a lot of ways, that's what the shootout is at this point, once you get that far. But regardless, that game even got to a shootout thanks to a ton of big saves. Speaking of which, this is kind of becoming a recurring thing for us calling out the league. They posted top plays of the week today, and they didn't include Jan Shostak's save against Trevor Connolly from the third period. I couldn't believe that didn't show up.
Well, and again, he doesn't, I don't even know if they know the Stars are in the league. We haven't won one player of the week all year. But that's a big reason why I'm upset about the third period on Friday. If that game finishes 5-1 like it should, he clearly wins the goalie of the week, right? But instead, he's credited with 4 against on 44 shots, but that wasn't none of that was his fault. And so he doesn't get the accolades that he deserves, which is frustrating. But I don't know. Maybe they didn't include that because Jack Picard made the initial save, right? It hit
team play though. I think that gets there.
It hit Jack's shaft of his stick, and then Jan did save it, but he also took the penalty to put us in that situation to begin with. So if you're gonna dig a hole, dig your way out. He did, of course, but that's a tough situation to find yourself in 4-on-3 with 2 minutes left, 2:15 left, and having to try to find a way to kill that off. And we did a great job. It was Keaton and Dash and Kleber and Kai. Those guys did the bulk of the killing for that. And then obviously Jan making some big saves. And Trevor Connolly played half the game. Literally, he played 28 and a half minutes. He played half the game. And so it was a really good hockey game, period. If you are a fan of the game and you appreciate the game, it doesn't matter. if it's a 2-1 shootout, or a lot of fans would say, "Oh, I'd rather see the high scoring game." But I mean, there were plays being made, there was chances, there was line rushes, there was big saves on both sides. Corpy made a bunch of really good saves too, and so it was just a fun game to be a part of, and a great way for us to end the calendar year.
I loved just the battle between Shostak and Connolly that whole game. There was at least 3 big saves that Shostak made, and I'll include the one in the shootout. Not even letting him really get a shot off, getting that stick in the last moment, maybe making Connolly think an extra second. That was just a really fun game within the game, it felt like, all night.
Yeah, and you know what? Nizmayev went first, and I was actually really happy that they sent him first, because Nizmayev had a penalty shot against him a couple weeks ago. I think it might have been the game before Thanksgiving, maybe. And Jan stopped it. Maybe it wasn't the one before Thanksgiving. Maybe it was the game we won a couple weeks ago. But
the 15th.
Yeah, the 15th. So that Friday. But Jan stopped it, and so I knew he had confidence in him. I knew that he had an idea of kind of what Nizmayev would do, and obviously he's super talented and really skilled, great hands, trying to wait you out and force you into being baited into something, and Jan just was patient, and used his stick and made a big save, and I could tell he was dialed. I mean, after he went through making the saves he needed to make in overtime, I was very confident going into the shootout that if we could get one early, obviously Spinner was able to do that, but if we could get one early, he was going to be back there and make the 3 saves that we needed.
He did exactly that, and it was exactly what you wanted to see from the shootout as well. That was you went with, I'm trying to remember now, Spinelli, and then Pekar, and then it was Peters who went last, didn't he?
Yeah, and Peters, I thought, had him 5-hole. Pekar, I don't think it was his best effort, but he's a guy that you got to trust to go there. And Mangs historically has not been very good in the shootouts, and
which is so surprising.
I mean, look at Mason last year. I mean, look at our whole team last year. Nobody scored a shootout goal last year except for Antonio Fernandez.
He's the only one, and won all the games that he scored one in.
Yes, but Mason was like automatic the year before.
Really,
automatic. If he went, like, just forget about it. It was going in the net. And Lucas Wallen scored a lot in the shootouts. It's funny, like, I don't even remember. I used Thompson once or twice. We were in a lot more overtime shootout situations in my first year than last year and this year, for whatever reason. But it was other guys that were coming up big and scoring in those moments. Not Thompson, who was clearly our leading scorer and our most talented player, but Mason was money in the shootouts the year before, and I mean, he was 0 for 3 or 0 for 4, and we were in I'm like, I'm not using you. Go sit down there. Like, if we get through half the bench, you can go. And he was laughing. Obviously, I was joking, but I kind of wasn't, because he just wasn't having a lot of luck with it. And Mangs is a guy that is super talented and just hasn't, he's been a little snake bit in those situations. And so, we'll see when next time we get into it. Obviously, Jack's had a few chances. He scored in Waterloo, but it's actually something that our staff has kind of talked about. Like, maybe we need to spend a little bit more time on it. And I mean, we do a shootout every week, but maybe you need to spend a little bit more time and kind of talk about it. And we do a little bit, and you try to give the guys the information that they need, but you don't want to overwhelm them with the information, because you don't want them thinking too much. You want them to react. And if I've always been a believer that if you go into a shootout situation with a predetermined thought process on your move, you're not going to have success. I used to laugh because every Thursday, Sambuco would be like, "Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go backhand, forehand, under the bar." Like, it never went in the net, ever. I hope you're listening right now, Books. It never, ever went in the net, but he'd come back and be like, "Oh, I just missed." Him and Nelly all the time. "Oh, I had him." And Tanner used to be like, "Oh, Nelly, you had him, huh? Right. You haven't scored 2 years in the shootout, but you had him." So like that's, so you don't want them overthinking it. You want them to be confident and just kind of react to what they see. But some guys are better with a plan in place. Some guys are more able to just kind of read and react and Spins can do more than that move, that I can assure you, but he's so long and patient that, once you get the goalie to bite, he's able to just pull it back to the forehand and put it up under the bar.
It was a beautiful little goal. I mean, he totally had Corpy sold. He was going to go near post side and went back door at the last moment.
When you're 6'4" and you're 9 feet long, you've got a lot of options there. I don't know what that's like, but he certainly does.
It was really impressive. But nice to see, because he kind of been a little snake bitten in general recently. He had the goals and assists weren't quite there the way he started. He's still been playing well.
Yeah, you know what? He's banged up. He's banged up, and he's playing through some injuries right now. And I'm certainly not making an excuse for him, but he's on the mend and starting to feel better. And I think the break was good for him. And so. But he's still been super effective. He just hasn't been pointing as much. And, same with Mangs. Like, you'd like to see those guys get on the board a little bit more, but they're playing heavy minutes. A lot of times they're playing against the opposing team's top line. And so, they're doing really, really important stuff for our team. It just doesn't always show up on the score sheet.
Chatting Lincoln Stars hockey here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's Outside the Box. And Bryson mentioned, if you want to be part of this show, give us a text on the Sartor Heyman text line, 402-464-5685. Looks like we got a text already.
Yeah, we got a few of them here. First one off of Facebook. Bryce chimes in here, says, was last Friday night the first Lincoln Omaha tilt that didn't have a fight in a long while?
No.
We've had a few clean games.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that we played them so many times the last 2 years, played them 20 plus times. There's no way there was a fight in every one of those games.
No. Maybe late in the season, every game last year, but several of those early on now.
No, we made up for it on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
There was a good fight there with Copes. I think there was an interesting little scrap there with Massa, and so there was some fireworks there, but I don't think there's been one in all the games that I've coached against them, but quite a few.
Yeah, plenty, and we got a lot in that second period. There was the big hit on Aiden Jans in that second period of that game. That was David Posma laid that one. He brought a physical element all weekend in those two games. Man, Matthew Malte went over to kind of stand up for him, and then Posma didn't look like he wanted to fight in that instance.
Surprise.
And then we saw Ryan Kusler come over and kind of get in that. I was saying to someone after, we live in a time in hockey where I don't necessarily agree with this thought, but it seems to be the big thought is if you lay a big hit, you have to be ready to defend yourself. I don't always think that needs to be the case, but it's pretty clear the game has gone that way. And that was a situation where I would have liked to have just seen Posma and Malte go once Malte decided we're going.
I believe that if you're going to play that way and you're going to go and consciously try to run a 16-year-old kid wearing a cage, that you should have the willingness to back it up.
It's an open ice hit, so that you know what you're doing, clean or not. Like that. I mean, I thought it was a clean hit. He knew what he was doing. And it's like, you're trying to send an impact, right?
I don't have a whole lot of respect for anyone, not just that particular situation, that's willing to throw that type of hit and then not turn around and answer that bell. And I was really proud of Maltz because he was willing to stand up for his teammate, knowing full well he was going to end up in the box. And truth be told, there were no suspensions from that because it was not managed correctly. Maltz probably should have had a minor penalty.
I thought he got an instigator out of it.
Well, they gave him an instigator, but he didn't fight.
Yeah, that's right.
Because Kusler wrapped him up. He didn't fight Posma. He didn't fight at all. Yeah. So how do you get an instigator fight? You didn't instigator penalty. You didn't instigate a fight.
Yeah.
He should have got a 2-minute minor for let's call it roughing and starting that whole sequence of events. Cussler should have got the major and a 10 for fighting Massa. Massa should have got the major and a 10 for fighting Cussler. I would have probably given Posma a 2. Not for the fight, but for the shenanigans after the fight. There's no secondary altercation because there was no first altercation.
That's right.
But in real time, I thought that Posma might have been a willing combatant. And so my original thought was that Cussler was a third man in that situation. After I went and watched the video, I realized that Posma really had no interest in fighting, which says a lot about his brand of hockey. I don't have a whole lot of respect for it, but ultimately, the Cussler kid, I respect the way he plays. He plays hard. He plays physical, and he's not going to back down. And when you're a 20-year-old, you shouldn't have somebody else coming to defend you. You played 2 years of college hockey, and you just ran over a 16-year-old, and then you're going to go hide. I just don't care for it. So, but none of that should have happened, which means Malt shouldn't have been out of the game. Massa shouldn't have been out of the game. That's a major mistake from an officiating standpoint. And fortunately, I respect and appreciate the league for trying to right the wrong and not, throwing gasoline on the fire by suspending those guys for the calls that were made that were incorrect. And but it is unfortunate because then you lose Maltz for half the game, you lose Massa for half the game, and those are two guys that are big, impactful players for us, and so it was tough to play without them.
No, absolutely, and I'm with you there. You righted the wrong. They played the next day, and it's almost like you can say in that sense, okay, all's forgiven.
Yeah, to a point, it just it gets a little old when it's, oh yeah, we missed that one. Oh yeah, we missed that one. And oh yeah, that should have been a goal. Sorry. And I appreciate the transparency and the honesty, and they do the best they can. And it's just that there's real life consequences that go with these mistakes. And that's where the frustration lies, because, it goes back to the game before Christmas. If they count BMO's goal that makes it 2-0 in Tri-City on Saturday, like, that's probably a far different result. Maybe we won that game too.
But the way it just turned after that too.
And now, what are we, 1 point behind them?
Yeah, because they're 4 points.
Well, they're 5 on us now because of the overtime. So, but they would be 2 less and we'd be 2 more.
Yeah.
We'd be 1 point behind them. We would be tied with Des Moines. And we're going to play this game, just so you know, we're going to play this game for the next 33 games or however many you have left.
Well, we should, though.
Every single night, it's going to be, oh, we won and they lost, we're closer. Oh, we lost, those points are going to cost us. Like, it's going to, that's
when you're in a playoff race, this is what happens.
Yes. And our first 2 years, it was a different kind of game because we're like, oh, well, we're trying to get that first round bye. And, at some point we knew we weren't going to get it in my first year, but all the way till 4 games left in the season. Last year, we still had a chance at it until DJ Hart went and took a 5-minute major penalty against Tri-City. But he was trying to do what was right. God love DJ. But up until then, we were still in a position to try to battle for that first round bye. So, I'd like to say that 10, 15 games from now, maybe we're securely in a playoff position. But let's be honest. Look at this. Look at the standings. Look at 4, 5, 6, 7 right now. It's all really tight.
Very fluid.
It's all really tight. Even, Waterloo's 3, but I think they're 10. What are they? 10 points back of?
Yeah, of Fargo's.
Well, no, like Fargo and Sioux City are 1 and 2.
Fargo has certainly separated themselves. Sioux City's a great team, despite that loss the other day. Doma, you're right. They're kind of right now seeming like they're 1 and 2. Waterloo's hot though. So they're very much in the mix there as well.
Yeah, Waterloo's 8 points back of Sioux City.
That's
so
very
and
reasonable.
And Muskegon is 11 back on Fargo. Like, Fargo can throw their feet up and not worry about it because they're up. But then you've got Sioux Falls is tied with Waterloo at 32. Tri-City's at 29. Des Moines at 26. We're at 24. And so let's just say that game gets, that call goes our way, well, Tri-City would be at 27 and we would be at 26. And now you're talking about being 6 back of third place after an 11-game losing streak. So, can I say that we're suddenly going to be comfortably in a playoff position? No. If you're not 1 or 2 right now, I don't think you're comfortably in a playoff position, because we're all just going to play each other, right? And obviously we still have out of conference with the national program, both teams, the 17s and the 18s. We have 2 with Muskegon.
Chicago's on the schedule.
Chicago comes here, right?
Later in the year, yeah.
And we go to we go to the program, we go to Muskegon, Chicago comes here. That's what's left out of
one
conference,
game
right?
with Dubuque in there in February. They'll come here.
Yeah. We're done with Cedar Rapids.
Yep.
We're done with Madison. We're done with Youngstown. We're done with Green Bay.
Yeah. So 5. No, 7.
2, 3, 4, 5, 7 more out of conference games.
Yep.
Right, and we've played 29 games, so we have 34 games left.
A lot of time to move up the standings by those head-to-head wins, just what you're talking about.
Yes, and so I know that obviously, we've got a handful left with Omaha. We've got a handful left with Tri-City. I think we only have 2 left with Waterloo. I think we only play them 4 times this year.
Yep.
We have 3 left with Fargo, and that's 3 and 3 in their building. Later on in
March. Yep.
And then we've got a bunch with Sioux City. We've got a bunch with Sioux Falls. All these teams that are in that mix are all playing each other. And so you're going to have to win your head-to-heads, and you're going to have to hope that you get some help here and there. And, you look, and Des Moines obviously lost a couple games this weekend. That was helpful. Then they won 1, but you're going to be scoreboard watching and trying to win as many games as you can, and let the chips fall where they may.
Really fun to be doing this here in the month of January. Before we take the break, I think we had another question come in real quickly.
Just one real quick one here. Just hoping, it looks like, for an injury update from Chase B. Any word on if Jimmy will return this season? Me and the fiance got his Christmas jersey and would love to get it signed.
You could definitely get it signed. Jimmy will be back in town in the next week or two. And we're very optimistic that Jimmy will be returning at some point to play. It's a matter of him just recovering and then rehabbing and then getting himself back into shape. And he's got a significant lower body injury that took surgery to heal. But we're very optimistic, and obviously he's a captain. He was our original captain. He's still our captain. That doesn't change. And and now I would consider Kai a co-captain. But having Jimmy back just here in Lincoln with the guys every day around the room, with our coaching staff, I think is going to be fantastic. And so we're excited to have Jimmy back here in town, and he'll be more than happy to sign that jersey for you, Chase.
Very good to hear. Last played for the Stars November 10th. Looking forward to when he can get back. Rocky, I'll leave you with this before you head off. 7-3 month in December. That is the 5th best winning percentage, tied for the 5th best winning percentage in the month of December in Stars history. So congratulations to you on that. Also on the 8-4 record since that 11-game losing streak came to an end.
So we've had some other 7-3 months, but not 7-3 in December. Is that what you're saying?
So the ones that's just referring to December months.
Okay.
We've had a few really impressive December months. The last time we went exactly 7-3 though in December was 96-97. That year ended pretty well.
Yeah, I was in high school.
I was not even a year old, so.
I don't even think I was in high school. 96, 97. I think I was in 8th grade.
So well, it's been a little while.
But
either way, I mean, that was a heck of a month for you guys. Twice the Stars finished undefeated in the month of December, but this was only the second time that you reached over 6 wins in the month of December.
Well, and Nick and I were just talking about it today. We have not in the last 2 years had very good Decembers. And we've not historically done very well in that New Year's Eve game and in that last game in Tri-City, because it's the same schedule. It won't be next year. I'm going to change it, but that last game going into break and that New Year's Eve game coming out of it. And so winning that game on Sunday was really good for us and for our group, and being able to go in there in a tough environment and come out the way we did was excellent.
Yeah, so two of those trends reversed on the New Year's Eve game, and then just a really good month of December. So
yes,
really good way to end 2023. With that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to have Stars goaltender Lucas Massey and forward Max Verkodich joining us here on Outside the Box on 93.7 The Ticket.
Introducing The Outlet by Sartor Heyman. The Outlet brings you luxurious Sartor Heyman quality jewelry at unbeatable prices. Shop our expansive inventory of overstocked merchandise and a vast estate collection that just hasn't found its home yet. This is your chance to own stunning designer jewelry at a fraction of the cost. Elevate your style at The Outlet by Sartor Heyman, where luxury and affordability meet. Downtown at 12th and O or online at sartorheyman.com.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Letting your children know you believe in them will go a long way toward making their dreams a reality. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. It's important to celebrate learning, focus on the positives, reinforce good effort and determination. Children need your encouragement and support. Our public schools want every student to succeed.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Jeff Essing, owner of Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping and host of Fitness Fanatics. Over the years, we've helped countless people gain strength, lose fat, build confidence, and change their life. And it all starts with the Farrell's 10-Week Challenge. Now is the best time to sign up with the new year right around the corner. You can enroll for the January 10-Week Challenge for only $299. That's 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. Head to fxblincoln.com for more information on how to enroll. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
It's time for Outside the Box. with Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo and Lincoln Stars broadcaster Joel Norman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back again here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's Outside the Box. As I'm Joel Norman chatting. Previously was with the head coach of the Stars, Rocky Russo, and now with Stars goaltender Lucas Massey and forward Max Verkotish. Guys, how we doing? Happy to have you on here tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
Yeah, Max, I remember you were on last year, maybe a couple of times as well.
Yeah.
Max, is this your radio debut, I would assume?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, pretty exciting. You got the Slovakia jacket in here with you. You were playing with them, of course, the World Junior A Challenge, and kind of back like you never left, scoring in game number 2 back with the Stars on Saturday. That had to be a pretty good feeling for you, scoring against Omaha.
Yeah, so I had a little bit of a drought there, like a point drought, so finally scored.
That was an exciting one because you were able to kind of slip behind the defense a little bit. And this is not at all meant to be an insult. But to me, that's not the way I picture Max for coach angle. I see you kind of as a guy, you're going to rifle a shot. That one you get in on a breakaway opportunity. It had to be pretty exciting in that moment.
Yeah, it was super exciting to get the goal finally. So
there was a lot of debate among the media up there saying, "Oh, is he offsides a little bit on?" And I didn't think so from my angle personally. I'm not saying I'm biased or anything, but it was a situation where like you get in and you're kind of thinking like, I always wonder like, do guys know sometimes like, okay, I was off on that one, but I got lucky.
I don't think the situation was offside. I just saw the puck near the blue line, and I just called for it. Saw the defenseman like flat-footed and started with the puck, so I just called for it, and Max gave me a good pass there and scored.
Yeah, it was really nice to see it. And Mass, you had to love that from the other end of the ice, getting a little depth scoring. And nice to see your roommate getting it as well.
That's right. Yeah, the Wendling household.
That's right.
Bouncing back a little bit. Yeah.
Who'd you have last year with you in your billet house? I'm trying to remember.
I was alone.
You were alone last year. Is it nice having someone else with you this year?
Yeah, it is. It's very nice. Some backup at the family dinner. It's nice. Yeah, it's like having a brother.
Absolutely. Yeah. Max, what's the American cooking like for you? What do you like? What do you dislike? What do you miss from home?
I really miss the cured meats, for example.
Cured meats?
And my grandma's cooking.
Okay.
It's the things I miss the most.
You ever ask your billet, hey, can we pull out some cured meats? Let's make it happen tonight.
You can't really make it here, I think. It's not the same.
Not the same. That's fair enough. Bass, what's your favorite food you've had at your household?
Well, we do Taco Tuesday every night.
Yeah.
Or are you saying back home?
No, I'm saying with the Wendlings. Yeah, that they make for you.
We do Taco Tuesday every night, which is great. They'll always do some kind of pasta on Thursday, which is great.
Nice.
Everything they make is pretty awesome.
And you were with them last year, if I'm remembering right. Okay, so that's got to be kind of nice. Feel like putting on an old shoe, going back somewhere you're used to.
It's a home away from home. So
yeah.
They're basically my second family at this point.
Absolutely. Let's talk some more about this past weekend. Getting the wins against Omaha Friday and Saturday, beating Tri-City on Sunday. 3 really satisfying wins. Friday maybe a little frustrating with how it ended, but boy, Saturday and Sunday, 2 games that we had one lead to speak of in those 2 games, and that was when BMO scored the go-ahead goal in the third period on Saturday. But you guys found a way to get it done. I mean, talk to me about that, Mass. Both of your wins this season in between the pipes have been on the road. It's always fun going on the road and winning in this league, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a refreshing win because it's been winning is hard in this league, and it's been a tough season for myself to start and obviously for the team. But we're turning it around, and yeah, it was awesome, especially to beat a rival too. It's winning on the road is very satisfying. Beating Omaha is satisfying. So yeah, it was great.
Max, 3 games in 3 days. That's a lot on your legs. Talk to me about, you get through the game Sunday and you guys win. How much more excited do you think that made the team as a whole because of the fact that you guys had to be so tired?
Yeah, we are pretty tired, but what you're going to do now? Just go there and try our best, and thankfully it worked out. We got 2 points, so
yeah.
Pretty good.
Worked out really well. Let's talk a little bit about your experiences of the World Junior A Challenge. We teased that a little bit earlier. You scored that really nice goal in the last game. Unfortunately, you guys didn't get a chance to medal, but I mean, any chance you get the opportunity to represent your country has to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like to see the guys, catch up with them and just have fun, play some hockey.
Did you know most of the guys on Slovakia? Were they guys you'd played with before, played against before?
So the team was a bit younger, so I didn't know like half the team, but the other half was like I knew them pretty well, so it was good.
That'd be really fun. And, watching someone like that from afar, I'm sure you were following along. I'm sure a lot of the guys were following along as well, Mass.
Yeah, we, even with World Juniors, like whenever there's a international tournament going on, we're always following pretty closely.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take a quick break, and we will have more to come here in just a moment. It's Outside the Box. We're chatting Lincoln Stars hockey on 93.7 The Ticket.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de the Alzheimer's Association y the Ad Council.
Work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
He can maybe run. So like speed option, those things. All you want to do.
Speed. I can't see much.
It's also. Oh, look what you did. Look what you did. Look at Bill.
Down.
Come on
just
now.
Calm down.
I don't say anything about semicolons or
Should there be a parentheses or
too many commas over there?
Too many run-on sentences. Don't talk about that. It's not my wheelhouse.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
WWE Friday Night SmackDown returns to Lincoln, January 12th, 6:45 p.m. Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Let's throw down right now.
See Rey Mysterio, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, The Street Profits, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Carlito, and more. It's WWE's Friday Night SmackDown in Lincoln, January 12th. Tickets start at $25 and on sale now. Ticketmaster.
I see the future in our public school classrooms every day. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. I also see how critically important parent and community support is to our students' success. Support your public schools. Get involved. Form a business school partnership or become a school volunteer. Great schools and great communities work hand in hand.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
It's time for Outside the Box with Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo and Lincoln Stars broadcaster Joel Norman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back again to wrap things up here on 93.7 The Ticket as we're chatting Lincoln Stars hockey on Outside the Box. I'm Joel Norman, joined by Stars goaltender Lucas Massey and forward Max Verkodich. And kind of recapped a little bit of the games from last weekend. Now looking ahead to this weekend, taking on the Waterloo Blackhawks. All of a sudden, you guys are 4 points back of a playoff spot. You're 4 points back of Tri-City now, 2 points back of Des Moines. Very much in the mix. Talk to me about this past month of hockey for both of you. It feels like this team has just completely turned over a new leaf and transitioned to a team that, in a lot of ways, Massey, we could say we were used to seeing a lot last season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're starting to click a little bit. I mean, in terms of like the systems, everybody's starting to get it. I think guys are starting to get used to the pace. For myself, I mean, I'm kind of getting into the flow of the season a bit. Like I said earlier, it was, a struggle early on, and starting to get back into the flow of things, starting to feel a little bit more refreshed, I guess. And yeah, I mean, to come off of a break and get these 3 wins too has been obviously a huge factor. Like, to jump on a team, like the games after break are often the hardest because you're out of whack a little bit. So to steal this weekend was huge, I feel.
Absolutely. Max, for you, let me ask you this. This is your first year in the USHL. What was the biggest adjustment you've had to make in season?
Adjustment? I think the rink size. It's a bit smaller than the Europe rinks, and you have a bit less time on you. Just there are players everywhere, and you have much less time with the puck.
It's interesting because you're so used to hearing people, they talk about the change from going from the smaller rink to the bigger rink. You don't always think about it from the other side, but that's a good point about a little less room to work with. For you, then, did that come down to you needed to make quicker decisions compared to what you would usually do?
Yeah, I had to practice it and practice, just to get my head up quicker and make those decisions quicker.
Absolutely. Got to give a quick shout out, by the way. We had a text earlier. Harrison had mentioned to us. We got one from Joe LeMay, former Lincoln Star from a couple of seasons, texted in. Hey, Harrison, we had any others since then?
Yeah, we've had a few more, and that one is for a coach just said, wish you all the best. Go Stars. So again, shout out to the former Stars player. We do have one from Joe talking about this weekend. Sunday was one of the best games I've ever been a part of. It was so awesome seeing all the young guys excited heading back to the locker room. The Stars are about to shine brighter in Lincoln. And then from Casey Smith off Facebook, question for Max. What do you think of the wonderful city of Lincoln?
So the city is big. I think it's nice. I really like the brick buildings. I really like it.
Yeah. What's been your favorite thing you've done in town so far? Like somewhere you've gone to eat, what have you enjoyed in that regard?
I really enjoyed going fishing with Mass.
Oh yeah.
You guys have gone fishing?
Yeah.
Probably not as much recently, I imagine.
No.
But
Early on, we went a couple times. We went to Conestoga Lake a couple times. If you're familiar, homes. Some of the little streams here and there we explored around. So yeah,
very cool.
I wish it was still nice out. It's nice back home. So I over break I got to do some fishing. Yeah.
Max, did you catch anything?
No, not yet.
No luck.
No.
You have to wait till the spring now and then, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I'll take it back.
I was gonna say, Bass, as a California guy, you probably have not done a lot of ice fishing, but you get a little bit further north here, you start to see that a lot more.
Oh yeah. I think so my family recently in the last few years moved up to Mammoth, which is in Central California, but it's very high elevation. It's on a ski resort, so it's often very cold there, but like this year everywhere seems to be pretty mild. So the places that would usually be snowed out or frozen over are, they're open to fishing. So
not bad at all.
It was nice over break to get out a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was gonna be one of my next questions for you. Now, Max, you have a unique circumstance with you probably can't really get back home. Tell me what was your Christmas break like? Did you stay in Lincoln?
Yeah, I stayed here the whole break, and I spent it with Yavi.
How was that?
It was fun. It was like we have been together like every day, so, and we went to the ring every day and just practiced a bit and hit the light lift in the gym and then played some NHL.
Very
on
nice.
the Xbox, yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Good,
Christmas.
Good to get the time off, but still kind of good chance to work out a little bit there as well. Guys, thank you very much for the time. Looking forward to this weekend. Let's get 4 more points against Waterloo.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Max Verkodich and Lucas Massey joining me here on Outside the Box. We'll talk to you again next week on Tuesday when the Stars are back actually after the 2 games with Waterloo. But we hope to see you at the Icebox this weekend, Friday and Saturday night, 7:05 Friday, 6:05 on Saturday. This has been Outside the Box. You're on 93.7 The Ticket.
93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.